Hey everyone, and thanks for stopping by Oasis Ministries. Those who have followed me very long might remember that I used to write a blog pretty regularly. I gave it up a year or so ago, but I had written it for years, and many years ago, back over a decade ago, I wrote a series of articles where I talked about, does God ever annoy you? And I kind of wanted to revive that again this morning just for a little bit and share a little bit of a lesson. I'll probably pull up some other ones and talk about them. But today I want to talk about something that, I'll be honest, sometimes is really difficult for me personally. And I'm just being as honest as I can. Those who know me, I try to be as real and transparent as I can. Sometimes it annoys me that God expects for me to pray for my enemies. Let's be honest. I mean, maybe I'm just being too real for some people, but what I want to pray is, get them, God, sick them, God. Go teach them a lesson for attacking me. Teach them a lesson for doing me wrong. But, it's kind of hard for me to deal with when God says that He wants me to pray for my enemies. Now, I can deal with just walking away. I can deal with just letting it go, and I can deal with forgiving them. My problem is when God says, no, that's not enough. I want you to pray for them. And, pardon me, my eye's itching. What He means by that is that I don't get to pray, Lord, teach them a lesson, Lord, break them to the knees. But what God is wanting me to pray is, Lord, bless them. When I realize that, sometimes I'm thinking, man, that's just not fair. And I'll just be really honest. Just recently, I've gone through an experience where people who were supposed to be my friends, my supporters, those who are backing me, we got your back, Pastor D. All of a sudden, they're talking terribly about me, and I'm hearing it around the community. I walk into the post office, and somebody says something to me that they heard. And I walked into a restaurant, and somebody says, "Did you hear what so-and-so said?" And my anger got me redder than my shirt is right now. I know pastors aren't supposed to get angry, but we do. And I want to pray, Lord, teach them a lesson. Show them what they're doing. But God says, no, I want you to pray for them. Now, don't judge me, because you're already sitting there thinking, I can't believe this pastor's being that way. Pastors are supposed to be above it all. Hey, we're just as real and just as human as you are. And I want to share just a couple thoughts with you. In this recent situation, the reason I was angry is because it hurt me. People that I had given my life to, people that I loved, and I thought had my back, were suddenly hurting me and talking bad about me, and that hurt. None of us likes to admit that, especially men. We don't like to admit that we've been hurt. And in that situation, if you don't know me, I'm a fighter. I will go down fighting. And I want to fight. I want to go tell these people exactly what I think, or I want to tell God, you go get them for me so I don't have to, because doesn't the scripture say He'll fight your battles for you? Yeah, so we want to tell Him, hey, go get them, God. You show them who's boss. But it doesn't work that way. God says, I want you to pray for them, and I want you to bless them. Going through this situation anyway, God took me through something that humiliated me, humbled me, but humiliated me. God instructed me, literally woke me up 3:04 in the morning. I remember the exact time, 3:04 in the morning. He woke me up and He said, tomorrow I want you to go over and bless that person. And He told me exactly what He wanted me to not only say to them, but to give them something, to be a blessing, to pour blessing into their life. I got my goat. I'm telling you, it got me upset. And I'm like, God, you're not fair. I don't understand where you're coming from. I want to tell you that God doesn't do this just to humiliate us, but He does it to humble us and to give us a teachable spirit. See, as I was walking through this, God kept telling me over and over, I want you to bless them. And again, I just didn't want to. I didn't want to be a blessing. I wanted to be somebody over there thumping them right upside the noggin and teaching them a lesson and tell them, I know exactly what you did. You call me your friend, but you do this. And that was my attitude. God had to break that. I wanted revenge. I wanted them to know that they weren't getting away with it. God says, bless them, love them. I want to pray, Lord, give them hemorrhoids. I wanted to pray, Lord, cause their tires to go flat today. Lord, show them, humiliate them, let somebody turn on them. God says, bless them. And I'm like, God, you're just not being funny at all right now, and I'm not even liking you right now. But I began to pray blessings upon this person. And I began to look for the opportunity to do exactly what God said for me to do. And I did. And I had to bury the hurt. I had to bury the pain. And when I say bury, I don't mean internalize it and hold it in. No, I had to bury it. When you bury something, it's done. You know, when we take somebody to the cemetery and we bury them, we leave them there. This is not something I could bring back up. And if I did, it was going to stink. You have to deal with things that way. See, the problem is we've been taught wrong in the body of Christ. Now, allow me just a minute to share something with you. There's a verse that we love to misquote. It talks about heaping coals of kindness upon their heads. We've heard it said over and over. Well, let me go back and give you just a little teaching moment that might help you with that verse. You got to understand, in biblical times, when this was written, where Jesus was talking about heaping coals of kindness upon them, they didn't have Bic lighters. They didn't have fire readily available. They didn't even have matches. Building a fire was quite an effort and a chore. So what would happen is if, say, for example, my fire went out in my house, you had to have fire for heating and to have fire for cooking. It had to be there, so they kept the fire going all the time. If my fire went out, there was a special bowl that you would take that you would place on top of your head. It was shaped like the top of the head and insulated to protect. And you would go to your neighbor's house and you would ask for coals of kindness. They would take coals from their own fire and give them to you. And you would carry those coals of fire home on your head. So when Jesus said to pray coals of fire upon them, he was not talking about praying with vengeance or revenge or anger or resentment. He was saying, pray blessings upon even your enemy. When they've done wrong to you, go over and bless them with something that they rightfully ought to have to work for, that they ought to have to reestablish. You give that to them and be a blessing to them. So when Jesus is telling us to heap coals of kindness upon him, he's saying go the extra mile and be a blessing to those who have even used you, hurt you, wronged you. Jesus said, Matthew 5:44, but I say unto you, bless your enemies. Love your enemies. Let me get that right. Love your enemies. Bless them that curse you. Do good to them that hate you. And pray for them which despitefully use you and persecute you. That's his words. We may not like it, but that is the words of Jesus. That's what he meant then, and that's what he means for us today. When somebody hurts you, wrongs you, don't pray with anger. Pray with love and compassion and say, Lord, bless them. And ask for a way that you can heap coals of kindness even to your very enemy. I hope that helps somebody today. Come back and see us again, Oasis Ministries. God bless you, and you have a great day.